I am Marcus James Dixon with Gold Derby, and we would like to welcome Nwodim, who just completed her sixth season of Saturday Night Live. So, Ego, tell us, what is it that keeps you coming back to SNL year after year? What is so special about this show?
You know, I think for me at least, what is so special about the show is the unpredictability of I was going to say season, but truly every week and thus every episode is so unpredictable. And that keeps the excitement, the fun alive, frankly. You can never really find yourself in a routine or a rut, if you will, because it's like it resets every single week. And that's really special about the show. And I don't know that there are many other jobs like that, certainly not as a performer in the same way. And so I feel really fortunate that I got one of them. And so that's what keeps me coming back.
Mm. And when you look back at season 49 as a whole, that's such a big number, first of all. But what do you think of overall as you're reflecting on the season?
Oh my goodness, when I think of 49, I feel like 49 49 somehow feels like the end of something, with 50 coming. I think we were very aware throughout the season, especially once we got past the December mark, that we're on route to the 50th season ever of the show, which is so remarkable and so iconic. And so when I think of 49, I think of um the new generation. We had quite an exodus a couple of years ago with some iconic cast members, and I think this new cast has really gelled and become quite an ensemble, and so it felt like solidifying that. That's my dog Chief, he has something to say. um but it felt like we solidified that, and as we go into this new era, if you will, 50 just represents is such a big deal. I don't even think I have the words to describe what 50 is, but it felt like, okay, we're doing the thing to sort of gel and become the ensemble we are before we go and do this other major thing.
Mm. And I was so excited to see the return of Lisa from Temecula this year. This time she was visiting a sports bar with host Josh Brolin. What was
Yeah.
your reaction when you found out you got to be putting on that pink sweater and that orange wig again?
It's so special because it's not often you put on a costume and you're like the audience is going to be excited to see this. And by the way, even if you do think the audience is excited to see something or suspect that they will be, you don't actually know how any given audience is going to respond. And so it came with its own set of nerves and sort of, but also she's such a beloved character to me, even the person who gets to perform her. There's something comforting in putting her on, but then you go, okay, I think people are going to be warm and receptive, and I hope they are, because it feels really cool and special to put on this uniform. And you see that sweater, you see those pants, and and those glasses, and you know exactly who you're going to get. And so there's something sort of comforting in that as well.
I love how Josh Brolin's character sort of deconstructed Lisa in the sketch by saying how she's a very layered woman who isn't always aware of her surroundings, and she might even be a klepto, he thinks. How would you describe the character of Lisa?
I've said this before, but I Lisa is one of my favorite types of characters to play, which is like strong and wrong. She's indignant. She is in her own little world, so remarkably self-assured that I mean, she's got the thing I think every human wants to have, but it's like cranked up to the maximum and maybe like breaking the meter. But she is fully comfortable in her own skin, and no one's gonna make Lisa uncomfortable. And she is, and that's kind of special. I wish I had a little more Lisa in me, but I think a woman who is remarkably self-assured and absolutely has blocked out all the noise, and to her noise is anything that's coming outside that's not internal.
Mm.
um that's how I would describe her.
And this year on Weekend Update, you appeared as Charlotte the Stingray to talk about how she got pregnant despite there being no male companions in her aquarium. And surprise, surprise, I think Michael Che might be the father.
Michael
Um,
Chase the daddy. Michael, you know, he's
how
daddy.
much fun did you have with that character and wearing that huge costume?
Oh my goodness, I haven't gotten to play well, I've certainly put on big costumes at the show, I would say, in the six years that I've been on the show, but I haven't gotten to go on Update in some gigantic, ginormous costume in the nature of Charlotte. And her bamboo earrings, by the way, give it up to our like makeup and costume departments who made all of that happen. Louis did those earrings. But anyway, Um, yeah, it felt really I felt like a kid again. You're like, I'm in a costume. It's not Halloween. I'm like in a big old costume. And to see all the departments come together to make that costume and Charlotte come to life, frankly,
Mm.
I think those moments are so special because you just see everyone firing on all cylinders and make something out of nothing. Like you have a picture of a stingray, but you have many pictures of stingrays, and it's like, which stingray are we going to be inspired by? And we had a picture of Charlotte, so we really tried to stay close to actual Charlotte. But um, it felt so playful and just like this season, I wanted to focus on playing, just truly playing. Like I think I've done a good job. I think I've been very diligent. I wanted to just play and just be fully playful, and putting on that costume absolutely did that for me. I felt like truly a kid who was talking about adult things, but I felt like
Very adult, yes. I mean, as viewers, we could tell that you're having the time of your life. And another one was Veronda, the rich auntie with no kids. Um, she wanted to relax during the holidays, and
yeah,
I think she wants to be the next Weekend Update anchor.
she does. She thinks she's got it. She's like, I can do your job, Michael. I'm really fucking funny. And so Veranda's another overconfident, self-assured woman who is unbothered by people's expectations of her as a woman and what she should be doing or what people think she should be doing. And she just owns it. And she's I mean, she's so confident she thinks she could co-anchor Weekend Update with Colin Jokes, as she says. But yeah.
You played a couple real life people this season. Cat Williams, the infamous comedian, who he was taking credit for everything, including giving Barack Obama the "Yes, we can" slogan, because before Barack was saying "Probably, probably."
I think we might.
And then you also played Jada Pinkett Smith on
Yeah.
Weekend Update. Talk about, like, when you portray a real person, how much research do you do to get their voice down, their mannerisms down?
You know what's so interesting is getting to be on the show while the reality is I'm a person, right? And I'm a consumer and I get to see all the things that go viral, and I just like anybody else, I'm entertained by some of those things and have opinions on some of those things. And so getting to I watched almost all of Kat's Shannon Sharp interview. I had seen a lot of discourse with Jada Pinkett Smith. Had seen her appearances on the Today Show and such, and so you kind of go, I've already. It's almost like doing. I already did the homework in my free time. It didn't feel like homework. I felt like I was just consuming it, but I sort of did the homework in my free time. Now with Jada before table read, and same with Kat, I think I revisited both of those interviews just to get some sort of everyone's voice has its own musicality to it. I heard Jamie Foxx describe it this way when doing impressions. It's like he says it's like music.
Mm.
And everyone's got their own rhythm and cadence with which they speak. And so I'll revisit those interviews, things that I watched merely as a consumer and was entertained by, and then go, oh, I guess I could make a sketch of that or an update appearance of that. And I go, what can I what can I sort of cling to when I'm trying to do this impression? Is there a softness? I think that like Jada Pinkett Smith has a softness and a sing-songy way of speaking. There's sort of a comfort in her voice. And Kat, you can hear his southern twang in his voice, and there's some high pitched levels. And so I try to emulate that. But I'll rewatch those things to try to find out what I want to sort of dig my claws into and use to embody the characters. And then the costume departments again does its thing and makeup does their thing and hair, they do their thing, and it really just makes it all come together.
Over the years, have you ever heard from a real person that you played? Did they ever reach out to you and say, "Oh, I loved that," or "I didn't love that"?
Okay, yes. Way back when Tiffany Haddish, I ran into her socially sometime after I think my first or second season. I did Tiffany in her white dress, and it was sort of like an audition. It was an audition pre-tape, and I saw her say months later, and she was like, "I love your impression of me. Yours is the only impression I like." I also got feedback from Whoopi Goldberg. I did a Whoopi Goldberg impression on the Jack Harlow episode where I was on The View, and somehow Jack Harlow had made Whoopi open to dating to partnership. And so Whoopi said she enjoyed her impression, my impression of her, and so that was very, very meaningful. Because oh my goodness, how could I ever forget the icon, the legend, Miss Dionne Warwick,
Ah,
um, has so embraced my impression of her, which has been so life changing. I'm deeply appreciative because people don't have to respond as your question sort of indicates. Not everyone responds to an impression. Some people don't even like an impression, but those three have been lovely to me, and embraced my impressions of them, and it's always done with love, so it feels
yeah.
good to have them receive it that way.
There was a People's Court sketch called Bad Hair Day where it was you were this hairdresser who was doing Io Adebree's hair, and you cut it so short that you could see the brain coming through the back. What do you remember most about that? That one went viral. It was so funny.
I remember getting to see how I think between Louis in our makeup department and Jody in the hair department, head of hair department, came together to make that wig with the brains in the back, and seeing that for the first time and going, oh my God, that is disgusting. This part got cut out of the sketches, happens on the show because we're trying to save time and account for time and try to get as many pieces on as possible. But my character actually had like gosh, like Freddy Krueger gloves, that were her brand of scissors, and that's how that happened to Io's character.
Ah,
Is I was chopping up her hair with my iconic my gloves, my patent gloves, that were like scissors, um, and I sliced open her brain. But that was really fun. That got cut out, but that was a very fun sketch to get to play that with Io. And some of the lines, I saw you dancing in the club, brain down, ass up.
and
All right, did a fantastic job with that.
Io said something like, I'm outside and the wind's blowing. I could feel my memories floating
Memories
away.
flying away. It's so fun too. I mean, it's really cool to be like, I even remember lines from some of these sketches because again, the job is so fast moving, things are ever changing in real time while we're on air. By the way, I feel like people have said this in interviews before, but even concerning the cue cards, it's like we're encouraged to read the cue cards because those sketches are changing up until the minute you see them go to air, and you could
Mm,
really screw things up if you're not looking at the cue cards for cues.
right.
So um yeah, it's to remember lines from those sketches when things are going so quickly, and we've done so many sketches this season, I've gotten to be part of so many exciting fun ones, is I think a testament to how well the writers did their thing.
How hard is it to keep a straight face when everyone around you is starting to break? I'm thinking of the OBGYN sketch where Kenan Thompson played Fat Daddy, the barbecue king. And that one was so funny for us, the audience, because you are all laughing. But how is it easy? Is it hard? Like, what do you think? Try to think about evil, negative thoughts to stop from laughing.
You okay, so your hope is that we've rehearsed the sketch by the time it goes to air. We've rehearsed it so many times, we know what it is, we know what the turns are, we know what is surprising to the audience will not be surprising to us. But sometimes just seeing it in real time, or seeing our castmates make little choices that maybe they hadn't before in any rehearsal, or just the smallest, most nuanced choices. If you get a glimpse of someone's face and you go, oh my goodness, Keenan's making a silly face, and or making a face in a way I hadn't seen him done before, and he's having a ball, and then it's contagious. um it can be hard at times, but I think largely what's helpful is that we have seen all those sketches and we got all the giggles out in all the rehearsals and at table read. um for air on that sketch, the OBGYN sketch, Keenan sprayed me in the face with a spray bottle, um, which was just supposed to spray my prosthetic belly, that which also looked like a real belly. I was pregnant many times in that episode. But anyway, he sprayed me in the face and I didn't see that coming. And I think I like swatted, I swatted, I forgot for 2 seconds that we were on air, and I felt like I was just playing on set with my friend. Um,
Mm,
so every once in a while, I mean, if you're like tapped in and you're like, I will not, I'm gonna be dutiful here and I'm not gonna laugh, that will help. But sometimes it's like it's fun to have fun. So
yeah. What was it like standing side by side with your mom on the Mother's Day show, the one hosted by Maya Rudolph? That was a kind of a special moment for the cast members.
Yeah, it's very sweet. So that's the second time my mom has been to the show. What a star. She was there for the Mother's Day episode a few years ago when Elon Musk was the host. And
Mm.
it felt very it felt very special. It was so interesting because the first time she came, it was like, oh my goodness, my mom's getting to do this thing. I've seen other moms get to do it when I was just a viewer at home. I got to see other cast members' moms, and that was so special. It was like, oh, it's happening. It's cycled around, and I'm here now, and you're gonna get to come. And now this second time, it was like, oh my goodness, I'm a senior now, and this is other mom's first time, and it was like the two senior, like she's a senior in that way. But it's so special. You feel so much love in the room, and the moms are so proud of their children as they should be, my mom included, and getting to see the moms socialize and be like, oh, my mom is part of this like clique of moms whose children are on Saturday Night Live, and there's a sort of camaraderie or familiarity to it is really special. So it's nice to get to share that with her twice. Really,
Mm.
really great.
So this is kind of a nerdy specific question, but how is it decided which cast members go on the promo video announcing, the host and the musical guest? Like you were with Billie Eilish and Kate McKinnon, which was a huge episode. Is there a sign-up sheet? Do you all say, I want to be on this promo? How does it
No,
work?
there's no sign up sheet. We get a text message on Wednesday evening about if you're going to be that person. And it's like your call time is this. I don't know how they decide it. I don't totally know. I have my own theories. They're not foolproof though. So I won't even bother putting them out into the world because I'm like they're not foolproof because every time I think I have a sense of how they're choosing, I'm like, oh, that upends that theory. So I don't know. But yeah, it's always an honor to get to do it. And it was so fun to get to do with Kate because I adore Kate, and I love Billie Eilish. Have not stopped playing her new album, so I feel really fortunate I got to do that one.
Who is somebody behind the scenes? You've mentioned the costumes a lot today. Who would you say is an unsung hero of SNL? Someone that doesn't get their due or their credit that you just like want to shout their names from the rooftop?
Oh my goodness, this is tough because I love. Oh my goodness, oh my gosh. There's so many people behind the scenes that I absolutely adore. I want to shout out Jenna Rossitano, our stage manager, who and Chris Kelly. Eddie's on that team as well. All of our stage managers, they're so amazing, but they make sure we are where we're supposed to be
Mhm.
during a live show that is rather chaotic. There's so many moving parts, but they make sure we're standing where we're supposed to be standing. They make sure we're to that set in time during the live show and during dress rehearsal, making sure we're knowledgeable. There are it feels literally unfair to name one person, and now I'm just going to say other names: Asha Kai Grant, Jody Mancuso and hair, Louis, our head of makeup, who is a legend, Tom Broker, goodness, and everybody on Tom's team and all of their teams. True, I don't, I'm fortunate enough to work other jobs, and those experiences have been so lovely. And I would be remiss not to if I didn't say that the teams at SNL are so incredibly talented in what they're able to do in the amount of time that they're able to do it. Have never seen anything like it. I doubt I'll ever see anything like it again. And so I I think week after week when a sketch comes together and it's like or it's stunning and everything about it just felt like mwah, 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 perfect. I'm like there were so many people behind the scenes who made that happen, and sure I get to be the face of it, but there are so many people who make sure these ideas that writers and casts have come to life and come to life so beautifully. And I think that's one of the most special things about the show that I don't know if I've articulated fully yet, but I'm like I feel really fortunate to get to work alongside those people and get to reap the benefits of their talent and skill and dedication. Yeah, our everyone behind the camera, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Mm.
You got to talk to them at some point. They're
Yeah,
amazing.
I'm talking to a few of those people you mentioned next week. We're going to do like a behind the scenes panel for SNL. It's very going to be very
Oh,
exciting.
good. That makes me so happy. It's unreal. They're unreal, and I can't articulate enough, so they should speak for themselves.
Mm. Well, before we go, Ego, season 50 is coming up, and there's going to be a special NBC has announced in February 2025 where, former cast members are going to be popping up, I'm sure. Is there anyone that you've never met that used to be a cast member back in the day that you're kind of like excited that you could possibly meet them?
You know what's so cool is that in these 6 years, I feel like I've met so many of the former cast members, and
Hmm.
the list is so long and it's so remarkable of who's been on the show. I mean, I would love to meet all the women who were on the cast years past. I've met so many of them. I haven't met Anna Gasteyer. I would like to. I think we've connected on the internet. Um, Sherry O'Terry, I haven't met. That would be really cool. But
Hmm.
there's such a long list. It's another moment where I go, oh, it would be unfair to say,
Yeah.
because I walk past the wall on there's a wall on 17th floor. Maybe you've heard of it, where we've got all the portraits of every cast member that has ever been on the show, no matter how long or how brief. And I'm like, there's so many of those people I have not met, and so many of those people I admire, and so many of those people who paved the way for me to be able to be on the show now, and for the show to be in its current form. And so all those people, I'm like, come back home so I can meet you. I'm really excited about the 50th.
Well, thank you for chatting with us. We are very excited for season 50 as well. Best of luck at the Emmy nominations are coming up. We have our fingers crossed for you.
Thank you, Marcus. I appreciate that.